Wow! What's happening, everybody? That's right, your boy. We here. It's Monday. What's happening, everybody? How are you doing? How's everybody doing? What's going on? What's good, people? What's good, family? What's good, friends? How are you? I want to say hello to everybody that's logging in from around the world, regardless of where you are. I'm trying to get my everything together over here, so y'all bear with me. But what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? I am absolutely thrilled to be with you today because I want to talk about this conversation. Yeah, this one about money. I ain't even gonna front. I ain't even gonna front. So before we get into it, I want to shout out everybody that's calling in from around the world. Excuse me, listening in from around the world, regardless of where you are, regardless if you're in the Middle East, if you're in Australia, South America, or right here in America. I just want to give you guys a shout out, give you guys some massive love, and all of those great things. I just want to say this real quick. For the first time listeners or the second time listeners, I just want to say what's up. How you guys doing? Thank you so very much for joining us on Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am your host, and today I'm calming down because I want to talk about a $2 trillion conversation. That's right, a $2 trillion conversation. That's with a T, a $2 trillion conversation. You know, when we think about money, it's interesting. But why black spending power hasn't become black ownership? Let me say that again. Why black spending power hasn't become black ownership? Yeah. It may get a little tight today. It may hurt a little bit, but I want to give you some factual information about where we sit as African Americans, as black individuals. Where do we sit? Not just in America, but also around the world. But I want to give y'all some facts. So if you're an entrepreneur for sure, business owner, business sales, business leader, if you're a business builder, regardless of what space you're in, this is it. If you're a business owner, for sure, right? But if you're looking to get into ownership, if you're looking to get into business or whatever, pay close attention to this actual conversation because we're talking about $2 trillion, and that's with a T. $2 trillion. So, one of the most misunderstood topics in business is not race. It's not even politics. Yeah, it's not race. It's not politics. It's economics. That's what it is. Let me say this. My friend, have said this. I don't know, probably about 10 years ago, and he started talking about how we're moving from racism to classism. Right? You either have certain amounts or you don't have certain amounts. It's not any longer what most people thought about having, black and white, Hispanic, China, Asian, and so on. It's not that. What we're talking about in today, right now, is not that form of what we thought about in America when we used to see in the deep south, like the fire hoses and the civil rights movement. It has moved from a race side a lot and went into a classism side. Now, classism, we're talking about somebody having money or not having money. It doesn't matter the race or the color any longer. It is literally talking about you to have money or you don't. And that's where we are. I don't, in my greatest opinion, for me, is it's not the race, it's not politics, but it's economics. Man, please listen, family. Please pay attention on this podcast. Again, I'm not saying this from a standpoint I'm trying to belittle you or any of those things, but I really want us to understand the numbers, specifics, and then the opportunities that we have to keep going forward. So how can a community with more than $2 trillion in annual spending power right here in America have such a large ownership gap? You know, in my partner and I, we was talking about this. Me and my business partner was talking about this, and he was talking about right now it's about ownership. It's truly about ownership. The opportunity is right now. Listen, there was a demonstration, I'm gonna call it, and some people decided not to participate or buy in Target, right? And he had this boycott of Target for the longest of time. I don't even know if it's still going on or not now, but they had a boycott of Target, and it showed the power of if African Americans or blacks decided not to spend money at a particular business, what would happen? I mean, the stock price plummeted, CEOs were removed. I mean, it was a whole bunch of things because the African Americans or blacks decided to get together and focus together, and it changed the game, right? So that was with one company. My question is not so much them or that company. I'm not even concerned with that. My question is, what would happen if this $2 trillion in economic spending power decided to come into one accord and begin to move and have our own? What would happen? I'm not going to go through all of the inventions of other blacks in the past. I'm not going into all that. I'm talking about right now. Now, this is not about blaming. I'm not blaming a specific person or any of those things, but I'm talking about a mindset, a collective group of mindsets. It comes back to me, and I did a podcast a long time ago, a few seasons ago, about the Willie Lynch syndrome, right? And the Willie Lynch and how all of that transpired. In my opinion, it is still going on today. Even though that spirit of evilness started back in slavery, where they took the strongest male and literally destroyed him in front of everybody else to send fear into them. If we move forward today and he had all of these different things that was going on, just go back and look for it, the Willie Lynch syndrome. Just go back in my podcast on Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette.com. Just go there and look for it. I promise you, it is going to open your eyes to a lot of things. And now when you move forward on today, again, I'm not blaming a particular person or an individual, but I'm going back to I guess I am blaming somebody, the Willie Lynch himself, right? But when you go back and go through it and you start lining this stuff up, it begins to open your eyes, because we're having $2 trillion in economic spending power. It's about understanding how wealth is created. See, when you begin to understand how wealth is created, we began to move in a different way, because there's a difference between, check this out, generating revenue for your business and owning the business that generates the revenue. Yeah. There's a difference between generating revenue, and a difference between owning the business that generates the revenue. I was listening to a podcast, believe it or not, or an interview. No, it was a podcast, I think. And it was a particular man, it was in the gospel industry. And he was talking about how even in certain levels in the entertainment industry, of how these cliques and what people think you should or shouldn't do. And this particular guy literally said, I did not jump into, I want to be a part of this clique, or I want to be a part of this clique. And then the clique was suppressing the guy, because they were saying, well, you need to wait a certain period of time before now you become the one, right? What are we doing? Like for real, what are we doing? Why are we suppressing somebody with that kind of talent? And then he went on to, Grammy nominated and all these other accolades and hit records and making millions and all that stuff. But if he would have stood in the quote unquote the tradition and walk in, oh, okay, I need to, as you say, spend my time and I need to do this. Nah, it's just somebody trying to suppress them so they can keep their shine on. That's God ain't nowhere in that. So I'm not going to get down that. But I want to break this stuff down today about this $2 trillion conversation. $2 trillion in America that blacks have, economic spending power that we have, that in my opinion we're mismanaging it, right? We're not doing a good job of it. So let's talk about this. If you're gonna write something down, number one, the size of the market. Let's get into that. The size of the market, right? Blacks represent roughly about 13, 14, 15%, somewhere around there. Let's cut it in the middle and say 14 of the U.S. population. Go look it up, whatever the numbers are, that's what it is. Yet, this is what we talk about. Yet, from an estimation, we have somewhere between $2 to $2.3 trillion in consumer spending. Oh! $2 to $2.3 trillion in annual consumer spending. Let that just sit for a second. Let me give you another one. That's larger than the GDP of many countries. Wow. That's larger than the GDP in many countries. So if you look at it from a business perspective, that means one thing. The black consumer is the most valuable consumer segment in the world, period. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's just keep it a buck. We gotta be honest right now. We set trends and all of these other things. Let's just keep it a buck. And that's around the world. Think about it. Every Fortune 500 company, every Fortune 100 company, all know it. Retailers know it. Banks know it. Yeah, they know it. Insurance companies know it. Automotive companies know it. Technology companies know it. But the question is, do we know it? Think about it. We are the 14% of America, and yet we're probably, I think last I looked at, I think we was number 10 or number 9 in the GDP if we were a country. That is tremendous. I mean, it may even be bigger than that. But think about that. How big is that? Let's look at number 2, because this is another one where the money flows. Consumers research basically consistently show our categories that we like to spend money in. So let's go on and break it down, right? Let's break it down. So I don't want to say in any particular order because I don't have it in the order, but think about it. In my research, is beauty and personal care, food and beverage, fashion, consumer electronics, entertainment, travel, automotive, financial services, health and wellness. And the way this came up, and when you're doing the research, health and wellness being last, that's amazing. But we have beauty and personal care. That's because a lot of us are still trying to mask or make ourselves presentable or beauty for something else and not being our natural and authentic selves. I'm not going to get into that conversation today. But if we look at it, beauty and personal care, how many people who was that? Oh God, what's her name? Rihanna. Rihanna built a company, which is great, and a gazillion amount of people use her products, which is, shout out to Riri. Congratulations on that. She became a billionaire when she started her own, listen to that, when she started her own beauty company. It just makes sense, y'all. Come on. She was doing great in music, but became a billionaire with the B when she decided to get into the beauty game. You got food and beverages. How many people celebrities now are getting into spirits, right? Fashion, well, blacks, we don't even have to say that. Fashion is fashion. What we do on that side. Consumer electronics. There's a frat brother of mine that was one of the first people, Madden HBCU Experience, I think it was. He was one of the designers of that. I mean, you know, we have the gifts. Entertainment. How many people know about Denzel Washington or Tyler Perry or Samuel Jackson? And I can keep going on and on and on, right? In terms of the entertainment side. Travel. Every time you look up somebody traveling somewhere, let's go. Group trip, time to go. Automotives, the hottest cars. I go to church and sometimes I'll be like, let me see what's the newest cars out, right? Just go to your church and just look in the parking lot. Financial services. If you look at what some of the individuals are doing, I can't remember the guy that's doing Brian. I think his last name is Brian. John Bryan, I think it is. That's just doing phenomenal in the financial space, health and wellness. I mean, it's so many people that are doing great in the financial wealth space for blacks. But the question is, a lot of the stuff we don't own. We don't own. Business don't spend billions in marketing to communicate by accident. That's a clue. That's a clue. If you look at commercials, you look at the social media, who are they targeting? They are targeting us. They invest their consumer spend to get our dollar back to us. Every single advertising dollar is based on data. When you look at the data, they see $2.2 to $2.3 trillion in spending power. And they're saying if our company can get a percentage of that, we'll be making millions and millions and millions and millions. And in some cases, billions and billions and billions of dollars based on one group of individuals. That's how powerful it is. But go a little bit further, that's how powerful we are. Number 3, the difference between spending power and wealth. Pay attention. There's a difference between spending power and wealth. I think when I researched it, I got my eyes closed. If y'all looking at me on YouTube, not because I'm sleepy, but I'm thinking. I think our dollar circulates in the black community in 6 hours or less. I think in Asian and white community is in 20 something days, and it's crazy numbers, right? We as blacks don't even make it 24 hours before we have spent our money with another group of individuals. It don't even make 24 hours. And we've already spent the money somewhere else, right? So remember, number 3 is the difference between spending power and wealth. So here's where people get confused at. Spending power is not wealth. Spending power is not wealth. Spending power measures how much money flows through consumers. In this case, flow through Black America. That money is flowing through Black America and it only stays with us 6 hours or less. Wealth measures what people own after money has been spent. So what do we own? I'm sorry, family. I really want to be hyped and excited and jumping off the roof with this podcast, but we gotta really get into some of these numbers and really get this stuff down. What do we own after we spend money? Right? Churches. What are we owning? Stop leasing and let's go purchase. What are we doing in the communities to help people own? And stop saying, and I'm about to get in a lot of trouble, but at this point, we got to say what it is. Stop begging people for tithes to bring you money to the church and not putting something in ownership or helping people understand ownership. Now, I'm not saying every church is that way, but stop trying to manipulate people to get their money from them. And then don't put things in place for them to prosper, for them to understand ownership. Literally put those things into place. So when I'm saying this, I am being 100. And I know it may hurt. It may get a little tight. But we got to be honest. We have to break this cycle. We have to break this trend. We have to break this mindset where we just gonna spend. Let me tell you, I feel myself getting happy by myself. Here's why I say that. When I look at, I'm in New Orleans right now. In essence, just basically concluding. I think it's the day they conclude. But great. I mean, Tremendous event, right? Tremendous event. But let me now break this down. Essence, if you hearing, holler at your boy. Once Essence, the music festival that's in New Orleans every 4th of July, they sold it to another race, and it hasn't been the same since. Is the mic on? We gave up ownership of Essence, a black cultural experience that celebrates black excellence. And we sold it to, and I'm not trying to get into all this, but I gotta tell you, we sold it to somebody that wasn't black. And it hasn't been the same since. It has not been the same since. Some of you guys listening to the podcast remember when Essence was like, it was that ooh-wee. Last year I went to Essence and the numbers was atrocious. Let me just keep, the numbers were atrocious. Behind the scenes, people are talking about how they're cutting this and they're cutting that and this is going on and that's going on. And people think, well, maybe it's because of this. No, listen to me. Hear me clearly. Very, very clearly. When a black individual owns something, they take a lot of pride and care in that ownership. It's blood, sweat, and tears. When you decide to sell it to somebody out of business, they're going to flip it, and all they want to do is make money from it. I learned this in business. There are some products, there are some products and services that is a sizzle product, right? But it doesn't make any money, for real. It's a sizzle product, but it doesn't make any direct money, right? I believe Essence was one of those things. Essence collectively didn't make a lot of money, but it was such a economic power and such an economic engine in New Orleans that Essence itself may not have made it, but it celebrated people that was not being celebrated. But when it was sold, the ownership was sold to the actual Essence Music Fest and experience, that it just changed. Because now people are looking to make money. No, you gotta have the right thought process and mindset. So when you're talking about spending power is not wealth, just because somebody buys something, now they want to make money off it. You can't. Some things you can't. You have to understand the culture. You have to understand what it was intended for. You got to understand why it was done. It goes beyond just a normal thing. See, wealth measures what people own after money is spent. We understand that. Those are two very different things. Revenue goes to the business. Equity stays with the owner. Woo! We gave up all equity for Essence. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say another one. Y'all going to be mad at me today. That's okay. I don't care. BET. Now, I do care because I love y'all, but y'all understand what I mean. BET, when Bob Johnson sold it to whoever, Viacom, I think it was, haven't been the same. Because BET now is just numbers. They don't have that love affection. They don't have that love for BET, right? It's a entity. It's something we own. We want to make money from it. It's not deeper than that. So you got to understand all of these things that's going on. So if you're looking from an ownership standpoint and you own something, you know that's your baby. That's your child. You're going to grow it and build it and do everything you can with it. But once you sell it and it changes, or it kind of changes and all of these other things, it'll never be the same. Look at what BET itself now, is with, I think BET Plus is now with Paramount. They don't even have the BET Plus app, because now it's been rolled up under Paramount. So now we don't even have that. Black Entertainment Television, that's Plus, that's now rolled up under Paramount. So yeah, all of those things. Why did Paramount do it? It's simple, because hey, that save us less money. We put all of this under there. We can remove that platform, put all of the movies and the sitcoms and everything under this one platform, and we keep it moving. Well, guess what? That BET logo and symbol is gone. It's gone. So we got to keep in mind those differences in ownership. So here's the ownership, number 4, I'm sorry, ownership question. Think about every purchase you make. Just, I should say almost, I don't say every purchase, almost every purchase you make. So if you think about it, if you buy a telephone, someone owns it. Someone owns that company. Someone owns stock. Someone owns the patents. The patents. Someone owns the distribution. Yeah. Someone owns the intellectual property. Someone owns the building or the real estate that the headquarters is in, right? So if you think about that, someone owns every part. If you just buy a telephone, someone owns a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of people making money off of your spending, right? Ownership creates recurring income. Let me say that again. Ownership creates recurring revenue. For all of our inspiring actors and actresses, make sure you own the rights of yourself. Make sure you own the rights of things that you have created. Don't trust, own it. Own it. If you're writing an album, get all your paperwork together. If you're writing a single, get all your paperwork together. Own your stuff. I can't even express to you how many people I've heard they call it a handshake. Well, it's a handshake deal. And they lost millions upon millions of dollars because somebody else did the paperwork and cut them out of their own stuff. Boy, that hurts. So I want you to think about that. Consumers make one purchase. Owners benefit from thousands or millions of purchases every day. Look at what Amazon is doing. You may have went on Amazon today and purchased, I don't know, a phone case. Since I'm talking about phones, a phone case. I guess I need a phone, but anyway, a phone case, right? Well, if there are 1 million people around the world that day decided they need a phone case and Amazon sold it for, let's just say $20, that's $20 million they made in that one day just on the phone case. And then they say, oh, you need a screen protector. And that's another $5. Now that's $25 million they made just on those two purchases. Well, guess what? The next day, another 1 million people do the same thing. Now they made 25 million because they own it. But what did we do? We just went and purchased it, but we don't own nothing. There's no more money coming to our bank account. There's no more money. See, business owners think differently. They're thinking about how to own it. Here's another thing. I also believe in this day and time, ownership, we also need to talk about that control. Because it's nothing against careers. It's nothing against people having employment. I'm not saying that at all. If you got to do what you have to do. Do what you do. But you can also have something that you own on the side until that ownership of that small thing you created becomes a big thing, and then you have options and choices. But don't allow someone to bribe you with a salary to hold down all of your gifts and greatness that you have inside of you. Again, I'm not saying you to go quit your job. I'm not saying for you to leave your job. I'm not saying any of those things. But what I'm saying is this: you can have something outside of ownership, outside of your employment. So you can do a lot of things from that standpoint. So that's a big thing. Number 5, look at the global market. Now expanding the conversation just beyond America. When y'all get a hold of this, this is really going to be interesting. People of African descent. Of African descent. I want you guys to think about that. People of African descent around the world, listen to these numbers. It is not 2 trillion. It is $5 to $7 trillion in annual consumer spending. That's right, $5 to $7 trillion in consumer spending. In Africa alone, there's 1.5 billion people. And y'all business owners, y'all write this down. In Africa alone, is 1.5 billion people. It's also one of the youngest populations in the world, and is one of the fastest growing consumer markets in the world. Think about that. Now, I'm not saying for you to leave and go from there and all those things, but I'm also sharing with you about everything. Okay, so that is the power behind it. I have to pause. I want you, I was reading, it was something I read. It was an article. But I was reading on how China is in Africa deep. I mean, buying and putting down and laying down infrastructure and all of those things in Africa, and how people are doing business with the Chinese in Africa, and people are doing 99-year contracts, right? How the in Africa, some of the people are selling like their mineral rights and the land and all of that stuff for pennies on a dollar. And yet China is, and I'm just saying China, but China is all kind of people benefiting right from there. But once some of the African countries decided to start doing stuff themselves, this is starting to get good. They started to realize the leverage that they have. They started realizing, understanding the power that they have. They started realizing it, and things are slowly starting to turn, right? So if you are in business, or you're looking to get into business, or you want to do something globally, let me give you some of the industries that I believe you can invest in that's going to be incredible. Think about this. Fintech. Yep. Mobile commerce. Digital payments. Yeah. This is something we can do now. Healthcare, consumer goods, education, even e-commerce. So guys, when you list just some of those things and y'all see future growth there, that's powerful. I mean, people are doing fintech now more than ever. People are doing, of course, mobile. Everything now is in America is mobile, right? Digital payments, all of this stuff. But imagine now if you have access to 1.5 billion people, and whatever that percentage is in economic spending power, and you got a percentage of that. 1% will put you in billions with a B. If you got 1%, that will put you in billions with a B. I think you can be successful there. If you do a couple things, it will be incredible. So for our young entrepreneurs, our young business-minded individuals, people that are just coming out of school, think about it from that standpoint. Even older, if you want to take that step and get into something like, say, digital payments or healthcare, it's powerful. It's powerful. The question is whether entrepreneurs will see the same opportunity. If you look at what China's done, they've been trying to invest and investing into it, decades and decades, right? You see the Europeans, they've been in there decades and decades. Do we see the opportunity to invest in Africa? Do we see it? Just overall, do we see it? So anyway, that's number 5. Number 6, where does the business opportunities exist? If you're listening as an entrepreneur or business owner, don't hear the numbers as statistics. Hear them as one of those terms, a market signal. It's signaling us like, hey, this is going to be massive. Every $1 trillion market creates opportunities for businesses to solve a problem. So if you go back from the list earlier, and let's just say e-commerce, right? And we can do something with e-commerce. Think about all of the different things that's going on with Amazon right here in America, how they got everything, laid out. Imagine if you looked at something similar to doing in Africa, right? And Africa is a massive land. When I say massive, huge, it's big. If you look at doing something like that and you begin to get just 5%, 10%, say you get 20% of the market, man, how big your company will be just in Africa. So we have to look at it through the lens like that, not look at it like and believe what these commercials people saying, oh, everybody's in a hut. Oh, everybody's broke. Everybody. Look at the real pictures of Africa and you're going to be like, oh my God, wait, hold on. Y'all didn't tell me this. Yeah, it's that big. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some very poor sides and we understand that, but that's still opportunity. Well, what happens if you decide to drill wells to help them with running water? What happens if you decide to help them with farming? And I mean, I can go on and on and on. All of those things are an opportunity, right? So number 6, where business opportunities exist. I already talked about that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I already talked about that. So we understand that. But let me ask yourself this question. I don't think I said this. Ask yourself this question. Let me look at my phone. Okay. Almost finished. What products are people already buying? Where are customers underserved? What services are missing? What businesses can scale? What reoccurring revenue model exists? I just told y'all about Amazon. Just think about that. Imagine you put a warehouse in, I don't know, let's say Ghana, or you put a warehouse there in Ghana, right? And you have all of these products right there in Ghana and you're able to serve all of the Ghanaian people. Man, just think about that, right? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting excited. What industries are growing faster than average? Well, I just gave you a list, right? That's how entrepreneurs, that's how visionaries think. They're seeing what it is. It doesn't matter if it's the same, but now you're creating streams. How many people will you be able to help now? You have your own business, and I'm just saying Africa because that was what came up. If you have your business there, you're solving a problem. You're helping other people have revenue, have employment, have jobs, build careers, all of those things. You'll be able to do that now all of a sudden. Not only is your company being successful, you being successful, you're also helping other people. Y'all know I'm big on helping people. So there you go. Number 7, the shift. The conversation isn't about spending less. It is about participating differently. Instead of asking, what should I buy? Successful entrepreneurs ask this: what business serve this customer? What company owns this product? Can I create something better? Can I invest instead of only consuming? That's a shift in the mindset from being a spender to now going into ownership thoughts. All right. Black consumer market is already one of the most powerful economic forces in the world. Let me say that again. Black consumer market is already one of the most powerful economic forces in the world. This isn't the opportunity. The opportunity is increasing ownership within that market. Business creates certain assets. Assets creates equity. Equity builds wealth. And wealth built by owning value, not simply purchasing it. If all we're doing is purchasing, we're consistently giving out our money. But when we own it and people purchase it, now we get to have monies coming back to us. The numbers already are there. $5 to $7 trillion around the world for black consumers are spending. If we get a percentage and we begin to shift that from outsourcing, if you will, sending everything out and begin putting businesses together and now bringing stuff inward, how powerful would that be? How powerful would that be? Black Wall Street up in Tulsa, how powerful was that? It was so powerful they had to tear it down. So what is the world signaling to us as blacks around the world that we're so powerful that they're always looking at us to spend? Imagine if we shifted that and began owning our own. How would we change the complexity? How will we change the view of the world if we decide to do our own? That, my friends, is powerful. Who's going to build the next generation of companies that serve all of these different markets that we talked about? Wow. All right, family, let me get out of here, because as I was going through it and we was talking and I was thinking about things, I started to think about several different things that we can do. Hit me up. Go to letstalkwithstanleydoucette.com or go to letstalkwithstanleyd@gmail.com. Hit the show up. Give us a holler. Give us a ring, ding, ding. Let's talk. Let's talk for real. Let's see if we can begin to create some things around the country, around the world, to help more and more people, because right now it's about ownership. It's about having your own. Entrepreneurs, holla at your boy. Entrepreneurs, holla at your boy. I'm excited. I got my alumni in the background, Southern University. I'm excited, and I say that because we have the power. We just have to reshape how we look at it and begin to allow it to come to us. All right. So let's get out of here. I'll see you guys next week on Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. Remember, I'll see you guys on the beaches of the world. God bless, and y'all have a powerful, powerful, powerful week. See y'all soon. Peace. We out.